I'm Jason Wolfson, back with a kid-friendly mock for this year's BrickFair. This is based on Jim Henson's Dinosaur Train. I have a 3.5-year-old daughter. She watches the show, and I built the mock because I thought it would be fun.
Now, for people who haven't seen the show, like myself, give kind of a brief overview of what the show is, and then we'll dive into the build here.
Okay, it's an educational TV show done by the Jim Henson Company. It's on PBS, and it basically teaches kids about dinosaurs with a time-traveling train run by dinosaurs that goes to various periods of prehistory to teach you about dinosaurs. So in my mock, there's probably dinosaurs that should not exist in the same area, but according to the show, they'll take the train and visit whatever area they want, so it works.
So why don't you take us through some of the dinosaurs you've got here, because there's different ones kind of sprinkled all throughout.
Okay, I probably am not going to remember all the names, but I have an old T-Rex here. So there's a T-Rex, and that model, you could do alternatives. So there's one back there. I don't remember its name. I'm sorry. There's a Spinosaurus. I think they're a water dinosaur. They hang out. They eat fish. There's a Mosasaurus there, and a Plesiosaur. I'm getting most of them.
Good job. You got this. Keep going.
So the workers on the train are Pteranodons, I believe, and this one's helping some Triceratops. Now the show centers on a family of Pteranodons. So there's Mom. This is the daughter, Tiny. Shiny is hanging out up here. And riding the train is her husband, Don, her Pteranodon son, and then their adopted T-Rex son, Buddy. In the opening credits, they explain it. 3 eggs hatch, 3 Pteranodons come out, and there's a 4th one. And when it hatches, it's a T-Rex. And they adopt it. So it's kind of funny. This is Pteranodon Station. So this is basically where they all start their trips at the beginning of a TV show, usually. And the conductor is usually hanging out on the deck, but he's in the back on the caboose, which has a tail that wags, so it's fun. I think her name's Laura. She's a lookout dinosaur. I don't remember what type she is, but
I love this station. It has such a whimsical feel to it, especially the way you did like these spirals with the red bricks there.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was trying to copy the images in the TV show, and now to scale, this is not where this really looks like, because where they look like, the rock face would probably go all the way to the ceiling. The waterfall would be coming down from the ceiling. It's like in the middle of this valley that's just dwarfed by rock faces. So it's pretty funny. And I got Pteranodons flying all over the place. And there's more guys, like some Brachiosaurs in the back there. Other T-Rexes from a different era of LEGO.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how LEGO kind of dinosaur molds have changed over the years.
Yeah, well, I didn't want the new ones because, well, the mutant dinosaurs are just scary and not realistic. And then the newer ones are just kind of not in the scale with this. So I brick built some, and and they're also somewhat more scary and realistic. So I wanted to keep it cute.
Now,
like
John's showing the train right there, so talk a little bit more about kind of the train design, because that's something that catches your eye right away, those bright colors.
Yeah, well, standard train pieces don't really come in those bright colors. So I actually use some of the older style ball and toe hinges or joints to couple them together, because it's, they're red couplings, try to matching the TV show. I'm using a lot of little turntables, the 2x2 turntables. That's fun. Lots of offsets of using jumper bricks to get things to look right. What else did I do? And of course, the smoke is those, the ice cream. Perfect for smoke.
A lot of those like quarter 1x1 pieces to give detail on it.
Yes, well, that was the other thing that really inspired me, was like those new quarter tiles. It's like those look like dragon scales, and the train is like covered in not dragon, but dinosaur scales. If dinosaurs have scales, but we know they're birds now, so did they have scales? I don't know. But anyway, that's the way the train looks.
I've noticed builders making really good use of those since shows started back up here with a lot of mocks, those quarter round pieces, just adding a lot of detail to builds.
Yeah, well, they're great pieces. I mean, you can also see in the filigree work on the train station, I used them. I love that they brought back the turquoise, because that was actually the color, I think, in the cartoon. So, I got some designs here. And I just remember buying the turntable base to make the little window cross in that color. I was like, oh, they made it in that color. Yes, I can make it more accurate. It was very exciting to build this. And then there's trees. I wanted to mimic the trees I saw. And it was just, this sort of just came to me. I was just playing around watching TV, and I was like, oh, this works. And I made 3 of these giant trees.
Use the hinges there to kind of give the arms movement and
and it's good. I can lift it up because otherwise it would hit the dinosaur in the head. And this is one that I just was fooling around with in at a lug meeting recently when we just started opening back up again. But I used the carrot tops as pins to hold the leaves together, and I just made this, and then put it on top of that, and it looks like a nice bush.
Kind of bend the top ones a little bit to get that nice rounded shape.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun just trying to use parts in new ways to make plants, because it's just hard to do. Mm-hmm. And when it looks good, it looks good.
You mentioned the waterfall earlier. Obviously, that's got some nice movement there. So talk about kind of the design of that.
Okay, so that is basically the big Technic tread, and I attached 15 long transparent beams to it. Some of them are opaque. And then I just snapped a bunch of 1x2 transparent plates on it, and then just built that up. And then, put some dots on there that were trans clear, and let it spin. And there you go. And it's a nice waterfall effect. It looks kind of cool when it's stopped, but when it's moving, it really brings it to life. And of course, I cheated with all the trans clear parts as the water pool.
That works, just dump them in there. It gives a nice water effect.
Well, people remember the Cthulhu mock. That's where they're from.
Reuse parts. There you go. So what was set up like for you at the show with all of these base plates and getting all the trees and everything set up?
I would say it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I had started packing a few months ago, so I managed to get in a huge tote the whole back to fit in, a big 55-gallon tote.
I like that thinking ahead. You said a few months ago. See, that's something I think a lot of builders struggle with.
I knew if I waited too long, I would never get it done. So I packed it up. And then the area around the lake, pond, whatever you want to call it. I mean, well, it's probably a lake because dinosaurs are in it, and the pond would be too small. So those parts I put together, and then I put them in a different bin that wasn't that big, and then I just and that's of course with the pandemic going on. I did buy a lot of dinosaur parts on BrickLink, and this is maybe half or a third of the dinosaurs I actually own. I was like, wanted to make sure I had enough. I definitely had enough. Oop, train's slowing down. Uh-oh. I think it's here, I'll stop it. Track's dirty, probably. I go to clean up the track.
This was a good test then for it.
Well, no, it's been running fine. It's probably just, I know the track gets dirty and that slows it down. So.
And then lastly, we haven't talked about your mosaic at all, which is also very eye-catching when you first walk up to this display here.
I did a mosaic because I thought, hey, why not have the logo so people can see Jim Henson's Dinosaur Train, so that they know that this is actually from a TV show that maybe they haven't seen, but their kids probably have. I mean, when I was posting up on my Facebook feed, when my friends were seeing this and saying basically oh, kids are going to want their picture taken with this, I was like, okay. So I wanted to make sure that I had that there so it's recognizable from across the room. So, I mean, it's not the best mosaic, but I thought it would be nice and eye-catching.
Yeah, it captures the colors nicely. Did you use a computer program or just do that all kind of from scratch?
Well, originally it was supposed to be 4x4, but that was just too big. I built it, actually, most of it, and I just how am I going to put that up? And then I scaled it back actually myself to make it 3x3. I did use, what is it, the brick, Stud.io, that's it. That one, the one that's on BrickLink. So I borrowed that. I had to make a lot of changes because not everybody knows how to, computer programs aren't the greatest sometimes at getting something that looks right. gets it mostly right, but not 100%. So that's just my opinion.
Well, this is great work here, a very eye-catching display, and I'm sure there will be a lot of kids very excited to see this at the show. So thank you for taking us through the whole display.
Oh, you're welcome. And I will clean the tracks and make sure it's working. I do have one spare motor, but I don't think it's the motor's problem. I think it's the track.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.